Okay, so we are live now. Good evening from here to everyone, and good morning, good afternoon to you if you are in another time zone. Today we have Ami Diamond on the call from Israel, and myself here in Nigeria. We are both Microsoft MVPs, and I'm happy to announce to you that we were fortunate to be counted among those who got renewal. So, Ami, congratulations again. All right, so
Thank you.
so yes, so unlike the regular, we don't have Frank Falvey on the call today because he's unavoidably absent. So I'll be anchoring the event on his behalf, and we should be having Stephen join us, hopefully, right? So Ami will be showing us a very amazing feature in the M35 space, I guess. So you may just want to stay put and see exactly what you wanted to learn today. So Ami, over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, and congratulations to all of the renewed MVPs. It's a it's something that people are investing lots of time and effort, and usually they don't get any. Um, yeah, it's volunteering, so it's really important that we get this recognition from Microsoft, and hopefully it will give us more power to continue and to share and bring experience and knowledge to the Microsoft community. What I want to show now is actually something that can fit everyone. You don't need to know AI. You don't need to know anything. I'll show you actually two things. I'll start with the first thing. So, if you have been ever in a situation where you're working in SharePoint and I'm in a user called Alex and everything is read only, okay? The owner, Army Diamond, did not want to give the user Alex any uh, possibility to change things. So if he goes to this PowerPoint,
Okay, so Ami, I guess you're not
he
sharing your screen yet. Ami, you want to share your
oh,
screen, right?
apologize. Yeah, let me. Yeah, it's a syndrome that I need to get used to.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
problem. So once it's up, I'll
entire
let you know.
screen.
Okay.
So can you see my screen now?
Just hold on. Let me add that to stage. Yes, of course. Your screen is obvious now. I mean, you can go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll start from the beginning. So we're in a situation where Alex is um, part of a SharePoint document library or a site, and he has only reader access to everything. And he opens up, for instance, this PowerPoint, and he sees that something's wrong, but he's also prompted that he does not have permission to edit. So he's really, really upset, and he's thinking of what can he do. So first of all, maybe he will send a mail to his boss or to the site owner. Maybe he will try to download it. He will think about very creative ways, but there's a new feature actually. If he comes here to the view, he has now a new feature, and it's only currently, I think, on the web, but it should be available for Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. He can request more access or ask to make changes. So now he can give the justification. I need to fix this file ASAP. So he sends a request, and we get this screen that says the email will be sent. So now it will be sent to the owner of the site. So he will go now to the owner of the site, which is actually here we are. If we go to his mail, he will see that he got a mail that Alex is asking to edit this file. Now, uh, Ami checks and thinks, and he can click on the file to see what it is. What he can do is to say, okay, I changed the access, and what you will see here, the action completed successfully, and it says who have requested and what's the name of the file and the permissions. So now Alex will be notified by mail, and he will see a mail that the file owner changed the access, and now he can come and open the file. So this makes things much more easier. And as you can see now, he can now start changing things, and yeah, it should let him change now or do anything he wants, if to add a slide or to do anything. Let's see what happens if we can do if it's rejected. So he will go back to his document library, and for the Excel, he will request to change to get access. So he will click on the review, say this is not correct, I need fix. Yep. And of course, we will have the ping pong that says we will get now the mail that says he wants to change something. Let's see that it arrives. And this time I will reject or decline. Now I can also click here on Manage Request. And this will bring me to a screen where I can approve or decline. I can also see here what is the description, and I can decide to give him any description, any permission I want. I can also approve or decline. In this situation, I will decline because Alex is just what he's doing. And what will happen is that I will now get a mail, Alex will get a mail that the file owner doesn't allow to change the file, and he will remain not, he cannot change it. Now, I showed you in PowerPoint and in Excel. It should work in Word, but currently maybe seems like it hasn't been released, because I open the Word, I'm in read only, but I don't have any screen that as I had in the other ones that I could review and ask for requests like the others. So maybe it will come later, or I don't know. But this is in general the feature that I want to show. Do you think this is useful? What do you think
Yes,
about this?
absolutely. That is useful, definitely. Especially the fact that if it was mistakenly done, then the person can precisely tell you exactly, like you mentioned, this is not correct, so you need to, so that's very useful. Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, granular permissions I think are a great thing. I
All right,
hopped
Dan.
on.
Yeah.
Hopped
Hello.
on halfway through.
Congratulations, Dan.
Yeah. Thank you. You as well. Both of you.
Yeah.
Congrats, Dan. It's good to have you here in another year
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure. So Dan, do you
I
have
just got
do you
done
have
with
any
a bike
background?
ride, so hopped on as soon as I got home.
Okay.
I mean, it's very basic functionality, but as I said, I don't know if you heard, people would either call the person or send a mail or download it and upload it again, or do all kinds of workarounds, and this is probably a feature that is running out, and
Yeah.
it's if people, it's a bit hidden, so people, it needs to be more noticed to know what to do. This is one thing I wanted to show. Dan, if you have other things, we have time, but let me show another thing if if we have the time, Joseph.
Go ahead.
Okay. So it's to do with Copilot Studio, and it's a preview feature. So let me just go to You see my screen, or I'm not sharing?
Just share again, please.
I should share again.
Yes, please.
Yes. There should be some kind of a alert that says you're not sharing or something. So I'm now going to the Copilot Studio. Hopefully it loads up. And there's a new feature that is rolling out, which means I'm now in one of the agents that I created. And if I go to knowledge, what I can do is usually you reference either to a SharePoint or somewhere, but the new functionality is that you can upload files directly. Let's say I choose these two. And when you do this, you can now group the files. As you can see, it's a preview. It improves the search and reasoning over grouped files. And the meaning is that for this group, you can give specific instructions. Okay. Now, to be honest, I don't understand. Usually when you link to a SharePoint site, then it's dynamic. Okay. Here you're uploading to a group. You can give instructions, as you can see here. You can, even if I do this, you can see there's some topics. But these are suggestions to all kinds of topics. But actually for this group of files, I can say, as you can see, describe what you want the agent to do. Its tone, role. I can say show only files from the last 2 years. I can write anything, but it's related to this group. Once I do add, then you will see like a folder that has been created. And this folder specifically has instructions. If usually you have instructions for an agent, you could also have like a child agent or something like that. Here you can give instructions to this group, file group. And so now it's updated, but and by the way, it's shown here as a file type. The normal way is actually to link maybe to a SharePoint site, to somewhere else, or to your OneDrive. Let's say I go to this site, and I could choose maybe a folder or specific files, and you'll see that the difference between specific files, that each one has no connection, that I cannot control it, and this has some kind of instructions. Now I can delete it, I can make it official, I can edit it, and maybe I want to add or remove the files. So as you can see, I can even let's see. So I should have somewhere a way to remove or add. Again, I'm sharing with you adding files to a place which is static and it's here also it's linked. But if I would link to a site, only to a site, or to a library, or to a folder, that would be more dynamic, and that could be something that might be more making sense. If I just do this, so it takes the site, and now if I add more, I have like a general link. So in this case, it's the document library. These are specific files, and this is actually the group. This is as we saw there. It says it improves finding, and as we saw, we can also give instructions. So this is according to Microsoft, it's rolling out. It should not be used for productive use cases, and it might be only available in the US. But it's a functionality that exists, and if you want, you can test it. Again, if I go here, I can delete it. So in this case, maybe I don't need it, and yeah. So this is actually the thing I wanted to show. Let me see how I stop sharing.
All right, Ami, thank you very much for.
Okay. Yeah.
For that
hopefully, yeah.
Site again. Yeah. So thank you. That was brilliant. Honestly, it was. So thank you. So Dan, do you have something for us?
I do have something if we have time.
Yes, of course. You can go ahead, Dan.
Cool.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
this will be your first presentation this year. This will be your first presentation this year as an MVP again.
Yes, exactly. So let's see if I can get this sharing.
All right, so we'll go ahead.
So this should be my ultra wide monitor.
And by the way, you have in your title.
Was it author? The author piece?
Yeah. Are you selling it? Is it?
It is a.
Can you tell the audience? Can you tell the audience about it? It might be interesting for all of our. Yeah.
I can actually make it full screen here. So LinkedIn 365 is a book I wrote. And the page.
We don't see the screen properly, Dan. We see it very wide, but
yeah, it's because I'm sharing an ultra wide monitor. I was going to show you something with that on a Surface device. So LinkedIn 365 is a book that I wrote. It is available as a Kindle digital edition. And this is also available as a printed copy, but I haven't figured out distribution of that printed copy. So I've got some printed copies in my possession. Just haven't figured out how I want to, market distribution of those. The plan was in person. We were planning to be in Nigeria this June. I was going to bring a number of the books with. We weren't able to go to Nigeria because, Joseph, I think you've heard the story. I didn't get my e-visa properly, issued, and neither did another presenter from the U.S. So 3 of us total were not able to be present in person. But LinkedIn 365 started as a project in 2024 at the MVP Summit. Right before the MVP Summit, I spoke to an MVP and 2 MCTs about my idea to write a book about 365 ideas for each day of the year. And those are not just, post this and, magic will happen. If that were the case, everybody's LinkedIn that had the book would be pretty obvious to find because they'd all be posting the same thing every single day. So the idea of the book is, instead of here's something to post, copy and paste, and if it's in a physical form, it's more difficult to copy and paste that, that topic, but it's more of a prompt that you can use to think about maybe recognizing somebody in your network, talking about something you or your team did at work, thinking about something based on the day of the week or the date or the month. And there's 365 of these. For many people, that's way overkill. That's way more than you're posting today. And it might feel insurmountable to post every single day. But then the other benefit is if you look at it over a week, you've got 7 potential options to post. And in many cases, I suggest people utilize the different types of posts. So whether that's a video post or an infographic, Ami, you showed us some interesting things with infographics and the Copilot features. I played around with that this past week. The book was written in 2024 and 2025. There have already been changes to some of the advice, like hashtags. Hashtags seem to be less and less relevant on LinkedIn as they used to be. Things like MVP Buzz or LinkedIn 365 started as hashtags, and they can still be searched, but you can't follow the hashtags and you don't get an indication of how many people are following a hashtag. So MVP Buzz, when they provided the information, might have been 3,000 plus people following that hashtag, looking for people posting with that. LinkedIn 365, however, might have been 27 people or under 30, because it's a fairly new hashtag that people hadn't discovered. So without those types of features and feedback, I think hashtags are getting less and less valuable on LinkedIn. The benefit is whether you put a hashtag before LinkedIn 365 or you just type in LinkedIn 365 with no spaces, you'll find pretty easily the company page, which is just linkedin.com/company/LinkedIn 365. And then that's one way to discover where to get the book on Amazon. And I've been posting on the company page as well. And the thing that I wanted to showcase here.
How long did it take you to write the book?
Great question. So it was about a year from start to finish. So I got that idea in March.
Wow.
And my original idea was not what V1 of the book became. My original idea was to share probably a book that would have been 365 pages or more, by each day giving you concrete examples of what my LinkedIn posts were, how they did, some tips and tricks that I learned throughout those 365 days. However, LinkedIn, the amount of times that I post a day, doesn't make it easy for me to go back to what were my posts from, say, February 13th. So I would have to go back, try to find those, try to find the statistics. The statistics obviously change over time. So what I'm thinking about for V2 is, instead of going about it every single day, maybe breaking it down into every single week, which is a much more, meaningful period of time for people to kind of maybe dissect how they did. And there are ways that I can get the statistics from my LinkedIn for each and every week. So I could provide those. This is how I did in 2025, and then maybe do an update for 2026. But I think weekly would be a much more reasonable effort.
Do you think LinkedIn is pushing more videos than text?
I think they've got a big focus
seems like
on
it's
video.
promoting their videos, especially if if it was taken through a mobile, then you see the whole post as a video, compared to if you upload a video which is like for a full screen, and it's trying to promote it more, I think.
I believe in the company page statistics. If I can go down to, where is it? They give you a section where they provide you some information about how you're doing from a standpoint of a company page. And I believe some of that information also in analytics may provide you information about how your page is being viewed. So how many people are using the mobile browser versus the desktop version. And I don't remember if that's in this dropdown.
Yeah.
I've seen it somewhere in here with stats.
Yeah.
And then I can obviously manage admins, and there's a bunch of other things I can do.
Here we have analytics.
Yeah, it might be the analytics.
Yeah, okay.
And then followers, leads, visitors might be where it is. Yeah, this tells me whether I'm getting people from desktop or mobile. Thank you, Ami. So as you have a page like the Microsoft Speakers Hub, which has over 3,000 people, we could go to this analytics page and either take a look at a week or a monthly view to get a sense for how many people are engaging with our content from their mobile device versus the desktop or a browser-based view. And, that might help us with different stats and different ways to engage. Video, as you mentioned. One reason that I'm really happy we do this weekly show is the amount of posts I do, get likes and generate comments and, sometimes get reposted or, whatever the different ways that impressions turn into an audience. But a lot of times video becomes much more authentic. That I'm on the video, that Joseph and Ami, you're here with me. It's a way to create community in a way that maybe a static post and a bunch of comments back and forth don't necessarily generate that same, tone or realism of, who the person is behind the typing or behind the, the picture or whatever it might be. So I'm pretty happy with the things we can do there. The other thing I wanted to share, and the reason I went to my widescreen, is that Windows 11, this is a Surface Studio with an external monitor. The Studio monitor doesn't do this. But with Windows 11 and a widescreen, ultra widescreen, you can actually do these 3 halves or thin borders with like a large application in the middle, like Teams, and then maybe another application like Copilot on a widescreen device. And I think this is one of my favorite features of Windows 11 in conjunction with either a Surface or, just an ultra widescreen, is that ability to use thirds of the monitor as opposed to just half and half of the monitor like you can with the Surface Studio itself. And then with the Surface Studio being a 28-inch device, if I share the actual Surface Studio screen here, which will probably show up better because it's a big square as opposed to a long rectangle. The nice thing about the Surface Studio...
And that's instead of using this.
Yeah, this would be using the Surface Studio as opposed to the local computer versus the monitor. Let's see if I can bring up my... There we go. So I can typically do thirds of the screen, but in the Surface Studio, I can just do halves.
Yeah.
Or do 3 windows by doing a half and then up and down, or quarters of the screen. And this is a nice way to be able to lay out and work with the different applications that you have on your computer, because I can navigate those applications a lot differently than I might previously have done.
Unless you have separate screens totally, and then you have one on each. Yeah, or if you have
Exactly.
3 screens, you can do that. But here, usually, let's say Excel, if you want to compare or different, yeah, you would want it in the same screen. But
Yeah.
That's a very nice feature, of course, right?
It is pretty
So
neat.
Dan, do you want to share this a photo of how it looks on the maybe just on the web to browse the picture and just so we can see how it looks physically on your table, right?
Of the Surface, you mean?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Do you want to see that through the webcam or?
No, what I mean is you can just maybe browse that on the web. Let's just see how the picture looks.
So Dan, you're saying it's a hardware functionality and not is that a window feature, or is it depending both on the device and the Windows? It's a combination.
Good question.
If you have the 3.
It's a what do they call it? Snap Assist and 3. Divided by 3. Let's see if that'll bring it up. This is a hardware feature.
Nice.
And it's a hardware feature based on how wide the screen is. And I don't recall if there's details of like what the screen resolution needs to be. What I was going to do is go into my screen resolution here, where I can show you that my Surface device, Surface Studio, the nature, whatever you call it, the natural, I guess, resolution is 4,500 pixels by 3,000 pixels. It's super, super small, but it's a 28-inch device. So even though every pixel is very small, it's still very readable. I've dropped the resolution of this monitor that I'm sharing right now to 1900 by 1200 because of the fact that StreamYard might be doing things with the resolution. The other monitor that I was just sharing before, to the point of, it might have been too pixelated or hard to read, is a ultra wide that is 5120 by 1440 pixels. So it's super, super wide. And even when I go with the recommended resolution, it's still an ultra wide resolution. And that ultra wide ratio, if you will, is what allows me to do the thirds, either with a large, kind of larger middle portion, or a third of the screen. So there's something in Windows 11 that adds that to the snap feature of doing the corners and doing the half of your screen. So on my Surface, I get these corners or halves of the screen as options. And then with the ultra wide monitor attached to a Surface or any other computer, it could be a Surface, it could be a laptop, it could be, just a what do you call it? Small form factor computer with an ultra wide monitor attached. Windows 11 allows you to do those third snap features, which if you don't have an ultra wide monitor, you may never have seen. So I figured that might have been an interesting demo to do for folks today.
That's beautiful, Dan. Thank you very much for sharing this.
Yeah.
Right? So it's cool to have this kind of gadgets. It makes work easy and life easier to be multitasking and be more productive.
Yeah,
it's a very nice one. So thank you very much, Dan.
Yeah.
So I was expecting that Stephen was going to join us, but we don't have him here. So I'm going to be showing us something around conditional access policy, basically around zero trust security model. So I'll be sharing my screen now.
Perfect.
Share screen. Okay.
For the meantime, I want to wish Dan good luck on your new journey.
Thank you. Yeah, I started a new job this week as well.
Yeah, good luck,
That's very
and
good.
yeah, I'm
Good
sure
luck, Dan.
that will benefit for your experience and yeah,
It's going to be
knowledge.
fun. There's a lot of ex-Microsoft folks that have ended up over there, and I would imagine there'll be more because Microsoft laid off thousands of people, and many of them have experience with Microsoft solutions or cloud. So I would imagine I'll have other colleagues join me over at McDonald's here in the future too.
I wonder what they eat for lunch.
Joking. We have the international menu at the Chicago headquarters.
Okay.
So we don't only eat the stuff that's in the US, but we had India, Spain, Canada, a bunch of other stuff. Joseph, I'll turn it over to you, and we can discuss McDonald's at the end.
All right. So my screen is being shared now. So I think I noticed something changed today, right? So this is the Microsoft Entra Admin Center, and the way I get here most time is for us to go through this URL I like so much, cmd.ms. So if you come to cmd.ms, you would see the Microsoft Cloud command line. And here is one of the most productive places I have ever seen, because you can easily navigate to any of the portal you want to go to. You can filter to Entra, to M365, to Azure, to Intune, Defender, and so on, right? So, but if you pick this one here, the first one, it means that you're going to land somewhere here, right? So if you look at this, you would have observed that you have something here under protection, right? ID protection. So here, if you click on dashboard, so I'm not sure it used to be dashboard here, right? But just today I've seen it. Maybe it was there, I've not observed it. But when you click here, you have conditional access. So what is conditional access doing? Conditional access actually uses signals to decide whether to grant access to a user or to give access to a particular resource based on conditions that are set that will be considered before access is granted, just by way of summarizing what conditional access policy is. So if you click on policies, right, you do not see anything here because currently I have deleted all the conditional access policy because of this demo. So before now, everyone, will I say, I come here to create conditional access policy. I can say, okay, I want to create a conditional access policy where all admins are required to provide MFA before they can sign in. I can also decide to say users should not be able to sign into their devices anywhere outside of the US and Nigeria, right? I can decide to do like anything in terms of conditions, manually setting it up, right? Which is one of those things that is very common. So another option you could use is to use a template. So if you come to policy from template, you have a lot, so you now have suggestions. So you have require multi-factor authentication for admins as one. So if you want to use this, you just click on review and create. Then securing security info registration, block legacy authentication. These are independent policies that will require you to pick one, right? Let's say, for example, you want to require MDM enroll and compliance device to access cloud application for all users, right? So if you are picking this, then you are hitting on create. What if you do is by default, it will say, okay, it's including all users, then excluding the current user that is signed in, right? As saying is excluded, the excluded role, directory synchronization accounts, and the application it is targeting is all applications. Then access is that it should grant access. However, it should require device to be marked as compliant. So these are settings, right? So what is this going to do? This is going to use the template to create the conditional access, right? So if I click on create, it's just going to create, and this is going to give me one policy. Now, if you go by this, It means that you need to identify exactly what you want to achieve, which is the conventional way of doing things. Nice, great, but you may not be able to follow some standards, right? So let's say, for example, you want to implement the zero trust security model, or you want to adopt some other policies or models within your M365 environment. I find something very useful, and this was courtesy of, or this is courtesy of Jonathan Edwards in one of his videos on his YouTube channel. The guy is doing amazingly well. So when I was going through that video, I saw something very striking, and that's what I thought to share with you. So from the M35 Admin Center, I would never have believed that there is a way to set up conditional access policy also. But when I checked on setup here, right? So down below, something is just loading up. So you would see something here, sign in and activities. So here, myself, I've never done a lot of things here, but something that is very interesting here is where you see deploy conditional access policy. So let me just zoom in a bit, possible. So it's saying that the deploy conditional access policy guide provide customer who have the Microsoft Entra Plan 1 or Microsoft Entra Plan 2 license. So it means that for you to be able to have access to this feature, you must have either of these licenses with customizable conditional access template that include most common and least instructive security standard in zero trust. Then talk about secure foundation. There's another model you want to look at, remote work, then protect administrator, and then all of that. So it is telling you that if you want to do any of these ones, then you want to go for this. So what you do, you can click on it, right? So when you click on that, the good thing it does for you is that, if you've not set it up already, you will not see completed. I have deleted the policies because I want to show a demo, right? So if you come to this place, you will see the option to get started, right? So if you come here, it will tell you, if you come down below here, you will see the different templates that you can use. So if you click here now, you have secure foundation template, you have the zero trust which is recommended, right? So then you have the remote work policies, then you have protect, then you have emerging threats. Now, the point that I want you to take away from here is the fact that if you are picking one of it, it's going to select all the policies that would help you guide against that particular model. Let's say, for instance, you want to create you want to guide against your data protection in terms of remote workers, and you want to create the remote work model, so which is going to have like a list of policies in it. So what you do is you come here to review the category that can actually give you the definition of how many policies each of it is going to come with. So if you go by securing foundation, it's going to come with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 policies. What policies are they? Require multi-factor authentication for admins, which you could do from the admin center here directly, either by using templates, which is like one of these ones here. Require multi-factor authentication for all admins, which is the first policy here in terms of the template that you are given. But it's just going to be one policy. But let's come back here. Then you're going to have securing info registration, which is going to be one of them there too. Then block legacy authentication and all of that. So if you are going by policy, by the zero trust policy, it defines zero trust policy for you to say, okay, Microsoft zero trust model is a comprehensive security strategy that favors a robust, never trust, always verify approach, that it treats every access request as potential hostile regardless of the origin, and extending protection across users, devices, application, data, network, and infrastructure. Now, the point is that you may not know what is what is contained in the policy or the model, the zero trust model. So what this is going to do for you to secure your tenant is that it's going to provide all the policy. For this, it's going to give you 14 policies, right? Set up for required admins for these, then block legacy app, require MFA for all users, require MFA authentication for guest access, then MFA access for Azure management, then require multi-factor for risky, like that, everything. Now, what happens is that you can also go to remote work to see how many policies are going to favor you. Then you go to this one here. These ones are maybe deprecated or before, you check all these ones out. But that's the definition. Now, if you go through all of those, you now choose one policy, the one that, of course, which I would also recommend zero trust security model for people, right, who want to truly take ownership of the security of their whole environment. So if you click on next, right, what it will do is it will evaluate that policy. So it's defining the policy here to just what we said earlier: robust, never trust anyone, verify, and all of that. Then to come here. So the funny thing is that you will not be able to click next. So if you look at it, right, you have to, if you open each of them, it is going to default to the read only. Now, what's the use of read only when setting up conditional access policy? Read only helps you to gather the information, the audits, what's happening in your environment, and then you can use that detail to now decide. So setting your policies in read only mode is like toothless bulldog. It's not going to do anything, but it's just going to help you get information. Now, the only way you can have the policy kick off immediately is for you to turn it on. But it is usually recommended that you find a way to put your policy in read only, observe it during a while before you turn it off. And always remember to exclude your break glass account. Don't be like me, who locked myself and everyone out of my tenant, right? So what you do is, if you now want to, okay, pick this policy, fine, you pick this, you have to pick all the 15 if you want to adopt the security model, the zero trust security model. So you select all of them. So as at the time you pick them all and you leave them in read only, which is the best practice, I will advise that you start turning them on one after the other. Notice the impact, and then if you have to reverse, you have to reverse. If you have to move, then you can turn on the next one, right? So you can do next. Now what happens is it will ask you to choose the authentication method that you want users to adopt or admins to adopt, right? You can decide to go by MFA app alone, or you can also decide to add the FIDO key to it. But if you go for certificate based, you have like a warning, right? So you need to ensure that the user enabled for certificate based authentication have a valid certificate and all of that. So I'm not using this, and I'm not also using FIDO key. So these are medium security, third-party software or OAuth, and then all of that. But these are nice, so you can do next in that case. But the good thing about this for me is that once you do this, it takes a while, right? And then it will tell you like the summary of everything you've done. You are saying require multi-factor, yes, this, yes, and then all of them that you've turned on, you will just see, right? So you can click on done. So this is the automatic way where 14 different policies will be created and they can be managed, right? So right now they are created, but I want you to look at this place first. I hope it will not refresh immediately. Let me come back to dashboard. Then if I come to conditional access, and then I hope it's going to refresh. I thought I had it open. So you can see all the 14 policies are back here. You didn't see any of these before, right? So now you can decide to start observing the effect of the policy by using what is called the what if, or you can decide to. So if you look at it, every policy is same condition is one, access control is blocked, and then it will tell you like everything, right? So you can decide to turn on the policy from here and save, right? Or you can even decide to view policy impacts. If you allow it in audit for a while, you see the impact, you see the trend, the rise and the fall, and then you can see. So once that is done, you can start turning them on, right, and saving them. But one thing I also kind of quickly say is that this is still another very manual way of doing things. So but from here, right, if you come back to where is that place again? Let me just come back to show all, and then I come to where are you guy? Setup here. Okay, so if I come down to this same guy, so let's say you already have like a lot of conditional access policy, whether you are using this or not, right? If you come here to say deploy conditional access policy, and then you go to get started. So one thing that is, excuse me, I think I clicked the wrong thing. Just give me a sec. Something else I want to show, not that. Let me see if I'm able to get that. Let me see. Apologies, I'll just come back to this place. I don't want it to confuse me. So I think there's something I need to look at there. Yeah, that's it. I click on get started. There's something I need us to see. I think it's under configure, right? Is it where you can manage them? Review. Yeah, this is it. Review and manage existing policies. So when you click on review and manage existing policy, it is very simple for you to now turn the one you want to turn on. If you have impact on any that you want to turn off, right? So you can change all of them here, one after the other, and once you save, it is going to automatically get turned on here. So one thing I always tell people, if you want to play with everything, but do not play with conditional access policy. I'll show you something real quick before I leave the stage. I'll drag something here. This is one of my biggest posts that I would like to show you, and it's on the error I committed with conditional access policy. You can see this post. This is one of my biggest posts ever, right? So this, what happened, I set up a policy to say that if Microsoft Defender is not in laptops, then you should not be able to access all Office applications. Little did I know that I was not excluding myself. And or little did I know that Microsoft Defender firewall was not turned on my laptop, the one I was using. Immediately I hit on save, I lost access to my tenants, right? So I had to quickly use another account to go build a VM in Azure and ensure that Microsoft Defender firewall is turned on before I was able to access my admin center and turn off that policy before I was able to get in. I just needed a PC that is compliant with the policy. So when you want to play, do not play with conditional access policy. And if you must still go ahead, make sure that you have your break glass account ready. I know a lot of people that came here to say, why, how could you have done that? A lot of persons mentioned something around security. I mean, break glass accounts. And people, some even came to insult me, right? To say, with all my colorful certification, basic things, I'm not observing them. But of course, anyone can make mistakes. So if you want to play, I'm just sounding warning. Please be very careful so that you don't lock yourself out of your environment. So that's all I'll be able to show us today. And yeah, thank you very much.
Joseph, the other thing I'll say about that is that's how you learn, right? You make mistakes. Hopefully they're not in production, right? Like I don't want to make a mistake in McDonald's environment. But if you make those mistakes, a lot of times those are lessons you're never going to forget, so you will always be, somebody that probably points that out to other people. Double checks it, like you said, with that report only or that read only mode before you implement a policy. And then that's how you learn. Like the first time I formatted a disk, my dad had to drive me to the computer store because I had formatted the disk that booted the computer. And I have never forgotten that lesson because it was a very long drive with a very angry father who couldn't use his computer until we got to the computer store and, they explained what I did wrong. And I learned that lesson so early and it's never left. But that's how we learn, right? If you don't fail first attempt in learning, there's not always learning, or the learning doesn't stick, right? You learn something and then you forget it because you never applied it. It never became kind of a lesson. So
That's
great
true.
demo.
Absolutely.
Great demo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And actually, I would add that if you have a test environment or a sandbox, then it's always, I can tell you before I run a script or something, I always test it on a demo site and see if it works. I don't do it on productive, or it could be some test environment, and that can give indication to how to work. And by the way, Joseph, can you return to this first screen you went? Because I saw there's a menu for agents. Have you noticed that? Can you go to the first screen you went?
Okay. I'm just sharing my screen again now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw the first menu was agent. Is that something new, or can you scroll up? Yeah.
Here,
Go to the
on this.
first. No, on the left. No, not this one. Yeah, the admin center. Yeah, but scroll to the top. Yes,
Agents.
up more to the top.
Yeah,
The
I'm
first
already at the
menu.
top. Oh, yeah.
You see agent.
Yeah, I think this
What's
is
that?
new.
Is that to do with Copilot?
Oh, okay.
Security Copilot agent.
I think I heard something. Ami, just hold on. Let's check because I think I heard one announcement
Security
that.
Copilot. Well, I
I
think
heard
that's
that.
something that you need to pay separately, but it's something that stood out, and I'm wondering if
I
it's
think the
maybe it's the
agent.
Copilot for security.
I'm thinking that maybe the agents you build can be managed from there. Let me see. I think I have one or two agents on these tenants. Let me see how it looks or what is there. Because the other one does not have Copilot license, and I've not built an agent.
But it,
Let me see what happens in this one. Yeah, just trying to get in and see agents. Okay, I think it's around
but
security
it says
Copilot
it's
agents.
security. It might be there's a specific one for security, which is very expensive. But anyway,
Yeah,
you can maybe
I think
learn
it's
more.
something to look for.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
just it stood
Okay,
out,
we'll just
and
check this out. Yeah.
interesting to see what it's all about.
I think it's brilliant that you saw that quickly. Security product that empowers IT production, cyber threats, and okay.
Maybe
So it's
next
something I
time
would
you
look.
can
Yeah, it's something
investigate.
I would like to look at. Thank you very much for pointing my
Okay.
attention to that. I never saw it. Alrighty.
Yeah.
So we're on top of the hour already. I want to thank you very much for standing in for Frank Falvey, who is unavoidably absent. Danre, thank you very much. And Ami, congratulations once again for your dual MVP ship. You're really doing a great job, and your job is not going unnoticed. So keep them coming. So Dan, thank you very much. Yeah. So
Thank you.
we'll be ending the live stream now, guys. We'll see you again next week. Thank you very much. Cheers.